This is a special announcement. This is the oldest I've ever been. This concludes this special announcement. You know, the older I get, the more difficult it is for me to keep up with all the stuff I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know about you, but ever since this pandemic started, I feel like I'm walking through a fog or I'm walking in slow motion and I just can't seem to keep up with everything I need to do. You know, all the people in the church that I want to visit, all the different ministry things that I would like to get accomplished. It seems like there's always more to do. I can never catch up. And I think that that's a common human experience, I'm guessing, being that I'm human and all. And in Joshua chapter 13, we find out that as much as the Israelites have already done, there's still much more for them to do. And Joshua is not as young as he used to be. Joshua chapter 13, it says, when Joshua was old and well advanced in years. Well, how do we know he was old and well advanced in years? The Lord said to him, you are very old. God does not play. He doesn't sugarcoat the stuff. You are very old. Ouch. That could be a word from the Lord for somebody. And there are still very large areas of land to be taken over. You've been busy. You've been leading the nation. And yet, you're very old and there's still a lot more to be done. This is a breaking news flash. There's always going to be something to be done. That'll never change. We could work tirelessly and fastidiously on whatever project we would like to be on. We're never going to get everything done. Only God is able to completely finish everything that needs to be done. We can be the best we can be for Him in this life, but we can't be God. We can't do everything. Joshua 13, verse 1, you are very old. There are still very large areas of land to be taken over. As much as they've been able to accomplish, you got the whole West Bank of the land of Palestine to take over. You got the eastern portions. You got some of the northern portions. Let's pick it up. Verse 2. This is the land that remains. All the regions of the Philistines. That's the first mention of the Philistines in the book of Joshua. We haven't actually heard from the Philistines since we were in Abraham and Isaac's time, where Isaac lied to the king of the Philistines about who his wife was. Verse 3, from the Shihor River on the east of Egypt to the territory of Ekron on the north. All of it counted as Canaanite, the territory of the 5 Philistine rulers in Gaza, Ashdod, Ashkelon, Gath, and Ekron. Now we know from history that the Israelites were not able to take permanent possession of this land, that the people known as the Philistines were able to hold on to that land. Verse 4, from the south, all the land of the Canaanites, from Arah of the Sidonians as far as Aphek, the region of the Amorites, the area of the Gebalites, and all Lebanon. To the east, from Baal-Gad, below Mount Hermon to Lebo Hamath. So there's a whole big pile of land, both east and northwest of where Jerusalem would be located, that hasn't even been occupied yet. Verse 6, as for all the inhabitants of the mountain regions from Lebanon to Misrephoth, Maim, that is all the Sidonians, that's further north. Jesus will very briefly venture in the Sidonian territory to heal the daughter of a woman. The daughter's demon-possessed, and the woman says, yes, even the puppies under the table can eat the crumbs that fall from the master's table, and Jesus will be moved to heal her little girl. That's going to be up in that area. All the inhabitants of those areas, listen to this, I myself will drive them out before the Israelites. So I'm going to give you victory. Be sure to allocate this land to Israel for an inheritance as I have instructed you, and divide it as an inheritance among the 9 tribes and a half of the tribe of Manasseh. Now, what we're about to find out is that some people got what was coming to them, and other people did not get what was coming to them because they didn't take what was coming to them. They didn't drive out all the inhabitants of the land. And in some cases, like the tribe of Manasseh, they actually took land that belonged to Issachar. We're going to see that later on, that some tribes took more than what was allocated to them. Verse 8, the other half of Manasseh, the Reubenites and the Gadites, had received the inheritance that Moses had given them east of the Jordan. Verse 9, it extended from Aroer on the rim of the Arnon Gorge, and from the town in the middle of the gorge, including the whole plateau of Medeba, as far as Dibon, and all the towns of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who ruled in Heshbon, out to the border of the Ammonites. We're going to see that a lot of the tribes of Israel settled. Manasseh, Reuben, and Gad didn't even take land in the promised land. Well, Manasseh did later, even though it wasn't allocated to them. They took it. They mostly settled on the east side of the Jordan River. Other tribes settled. They were content to live with their enemies rather than completely drive out their enemies, either because they could not or they would not, depending on the situation. Verse 11, it also included Gilead, the territory of the people of Geshur and Makkah. This is in Galilee. And what we know about Geshur is that Israel did not drive out all the Geshurites. Absalom ended up marrying a woman from Geshur, and it was in the land of Geshur where Absalom lived as an alien while estranged from his father David, and that's where he plotted to overthrow his father. All this happened in the land that was supposed to be allocated to Israel, and without the Geshurites being there. The people of Geshur and Makkah, all of Mount Hermon and all Bashan as far as Salika, that is the whole kingdom of Og in Bashan, who had reigned in Ashtaroth and Edrei. So all these little towns east of the river, even there, they weren't occupying them all. They had not gone in there yet. Moses had defeated them and taken over their land, but the Israelites, verse 13, did not drive out the people of Geshur and Makkah. So they continued to live among the Israelites to this day. And years later, some of those neighboring nations would prove to be naughty and annoying and troublesome to Israel. And it was because they didn't obey and drive them out. Verse 14, but to the tribe of Levi, this is very interesting. He gave no inheritance, since the offerings made by fire to the Lord, the God of Israel, are their inheritance, as he promised them. So Levi didn't get an allotment of territory. We know from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 19, that they were allotted the cities of refuge. They had 48 towns, but they didn't have whole swaths of country and territory. And the Lord was their inheritance. You know, God said something similar to Abram in Genesis 15, verse 1. You didn't get all the land you may have wanted. You may have allowed Lot to get some of the land. But remember, Abram, I am your shield, your very great reward. We need to remember that God is our inheritance, that Jesus is our inheritance. And we shouldn't be content with a third of Jesus or a part of Jesus. We can have all of Jesus. We can be completely devoted to Jesus and have Jesus be completely devoted to us in relationship. He is our inheritance. And our eternal inheritance is kept safe in heaven, according to 1 Peter 1:4. Verse 15, this is what Moses had given to the tribe of Reuben, clan by clan. the territory from Aroer on the rim of the Arnon Gorge, and from the town in the middle of the gorge and the whole plateau, Plasmodiba, to Heshbon and all its towns just on the east side of the Jordan River, all those towns that are mentioned. Verse 20, Beth Peor. That's where Balaam tried to curse the Israelites and failed. Well, that land now belongs to Israel. Well, no wonder the king of Moab was so fearful. He must have known that God was with Israel, and turned out God has given that land to them if they're willing to take it. The slopes of Pisgah and Beth Jeshemoth. Verse 21, all the towns on the plateau and the entire realm of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who ruled at Heshbon. Moses had defeated him and the Midian chiefs, Evi, Rechem, Zur, Hur, and Reba. Not Reba McEntire, this is another Reba. Princes allied with Sihon, who lived in that country. In addition to those slain in battle, the Israelites had put to the sword Balaam, son of Beor. We mentioned him, who practiced divination. The boundary of the Reubenites was the bank of the Jordan. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the Reubenites, clan by clan. Verse 24, this is what Moses had given to the tribe of Gad. Also on the east side of the Jordan River, the territory of Jazer, all the towns of Gilead, half the Ammonite country from Heshbon to Ramoth Mizpah. I mean, this is what they wanted. This is what they got. You want it, you got it. Verse 29, this is what Moses had given to the half tribe of Manasseh, the half family of the descendants of Manasseh, the territory from Mahanaim. That's where Jacob met the angels of God on his way back to the land of Canaan from Aramean, and he called the camp Mahanaim. Moses gave that to Manasseh. The territory extending from Mahanaim and including all of Bashan, the entire realm of Og, king of Bashan, all the settlements of Jair. They got all that land. Verse 32, this is the inheritance Moses had given when he was in the plains of Moab across the Jordan, east of Jericho. But again, verse 33, to the tribe of Levi, Moses had given no inheritance. The Lord, the God of Israel, is their inheritance as he promised them. You know, I guess the older I get, the more I'm realizing it's good to be a Levite. It's good to say, you know what, God is my inheritance. He is my shield. He is my very great reward. Psalm 3:3, but you are a shield around me, O Lord. You bestow glory on me and lift up my head. And so we have Almighty God as our inheritance. We have a relationship with Jesus Christ. Like the old hymn says, I'd rather have Jesus than anything this world affords today. Is that you? You know, there's always more to be done, but there's never anything more to be done that's more important than spending time with Jesus, than talking with the Lord, than realizing that the Lord himself is more valuable than any inheritance that you can get from an aunt or an uncle or a grandparent or a parent. God is our inheritance for all who believe in Jesus Christ. Jesus loves you. This I know, for the Bible tells me so. We'll be back tomorrow for Joshua chapter 14. Have a great day.